Welcome back and welcome to a new series, a new adventure really. We're talking now about Etsy. If you guys have been watching the channel since the very early days, you'll know that I've been selling on eBay. In a couple of months I was able to grow an eBay business from making zero to making well over 10,000 a month in revenue. What I'm talking about here though is something completely different, as we're going to discuss Etsy, as just this past week I have made my first sale on Etsy. That might sound like an insignificant milestone, but to me it's arguably one of the most important things. I'm not saying that Etsy is something which I will have the same success on as I did with eBay, but one sale is good. I want to talk about how much I made, what I'm thinking to Etsy, and ultimately if I see it as being something which is a potential long-term business idea for myself, and something which you guys can also jump in on. So if you enjoy these sorts of updates, don't forget to like and subscribe, as I do try and make content like this almost every single day. However, it has been quite difficult at the minute, as I am still extremely ill. If anything, I'm more ill in this video than I was in the last series that I filmed, so you've please got to bear with me. I'm aware that I've already made one mistake today in this video, but you know, we've got to get on with it. Anyway, so we're going to be starting off by talking about my journey with Etsy. I want to give the context here because just like eBay, whilst I am new to selling on Etsy in a way, I also do have a little bit of experience. As a child trying to make money, and when I say child, I'm talking about from the ages of 15 to realistically 18, 19, I did try selling on Etsy, and I was selling women's clothes actually, so all sorts of different women's clothes, and it was all brand new. These were items from China, which I essentially just drop shipped out, and most of them, if not all of them, went to America. Now, what I quickly realised, the issue with selling clothes, especially clothes manufactured in China to places like America, is that there is a vast difference in sizing. So let's say, for example, if something's a size 18 in Chinese size, or a size small in Chinese size, that's going to be very different to a European or an American size. And obviously, as you may be able to tell, I'm not a master of fashion or clothing or anything like that, so I didn't really understand how to get around this issue, so I just kind of gave up on that idea. Bear in mind I was a lot younger at that age, so I didn't really have the same resilience and drive, but I gave up on the idea, knowing that Etsy is something that can work. It is a platform where you can garner a couple of sales, but you got to do things properly. So after a few years passed, I jumped into the whole eBay journey, started selling on there. That's when I saw real success, as I said, growing the business in just a couple of months to a point where I was making a decent amount of revenue and actually quite a lot in profit as well. So with that being said, I wanted to expand into different avenues, especially as I saw issues coming in with my eBay account, which we're going to be talking about in a new video, which I'm going to be filming directly after this one. So I started up selling on Etsy again. Now, this time I also gave up fairly quickly to summarize. I started selling on Etsy, but I didn't really know what to sell, so I was listing all sorts of stuff. Pretty clueless, but that's kind of what I did with eBay until I found a niche that I was comfortable with and that ultimately paid off. So what did I do then? I decided that Etsy is something which just won't work for me and I can't be bothered with it. You have to pay monthly fees of 20 cents per item, and I can think of different platforms where that's not the case. But just a week or two ago I started to rationalise this, thinking 20 cents an item. So for £10 English currency, I could have a lot of items on the store. It's a pretty small upfront investment, especially compared to somewhere like Shopify and Amazon, stores which I already own, where you have to pay upfront investments monthly of about £30 or £20 for Shopify and £30 for Amazon. So comparatively, it's not that bad of an idea, especially if you can start to make some money. So I came back to the platform, but with the experiences I've had with eBay, I wanted to be very, very careful. How can I make sure that my Etsy account doesn't run into any problems like my eBay one did? And this is an area which I'm still trying to research on, but from what I could tell, selling items on Etsy is a pretty interesting area. Etsy as a brand is about handmade and vintage, I believe it is, and all that kind of stuff. So to sell new stuff, especially to drop ship it, is going to be quite difficult. But what I did find out on Etsy is, and I'm not 100% certain if this is the case, I'm still researching like I said, but from what I've seen, it appears to be the case that stuff in the craft supplies and party supplies and tools section can be resold. So you don't need to make it, and it can be new. So for that reason I decided to focus my efforts around this. I wanted to sell tools, especially related to art and other art supplies. So you can obviously imagine what that entails: paints, paper, sketch pads of all sorts. We're talking things like pencils, crayons, and also some more obscure items like clay tools. So listing 5 items a day for the past week or so, I've managed to amass a store with about 50 items on it. Today and yesterday, after I started to see some success, I did start to list a couple more, so today I listed about 7 items, and maybe I'll start to increase the rate at which I upload. But I remember what night it was Saturday night, tonight's Monday night, I believe it is. I've lost all track due to this illness, but I think tonight is Monday night. So just a couple of nights ago, after coming back from being out for a bit, I checked my phone, and to my amazement, I had an Etsy sale. This is the first one that I've seen on this account, and I was pretty impressed. So I checked what the order was for. For those who want to know, it was for a set of pencils. Nothing particularly amazing, but like I said, it's an art store, so it was going to be something art related. So I checked where this is going to. This is going to Australia. Obviously, I'm actually dropshipping the product, so I have to source a product and send it to Australia. So if we talk about profit margins for Etsy, how have I done? Honestly, not bad. This sale made me £15 in revenue. An extra £1.50, I believe it was added on for tax reasons. So a total of £16.50 and £15 in actual keepable revenue. Now, of course, revenue is only half of the picture, as we then have to take our costs into consideration. We're talking about a 20-cent listing fee, so I'll round that up to 20 pence, and we're also talking about the cost of sourcing the item. Now, sourcing the item was just over £5. Again, this is sold for 15, so not bad. Then when we take Etsy fees into consideration and all that kind of stuff, we're left with a decent profit of just under £9. So, not terrible at all. That's £9 for one sale, and money that I didn't have before. Just like I discussed in the dropshipping video, this is really good. I don't have to go out and source a product. It's fairly easy, and then once it sells, I just list it, and obviously then buy it from the supplier and send it straight away. Now, the one issue that I believe I could run into here, and I've seen this before in my other stores, is that Etsy is a site where a lot of the orders that I seem to get are international. It's very rare, in fact I've never actually had it happen, where an order's gone to the UK. On eBay, this is the absolute opposite. On eBay, I might have sold 400 items, and 2 or 3 of them have gone to foreign countries. And that makes things easier, especially when buying from sites like AliExpress, because they offer different shipping times based on the country, and that makes sense because they may have a warehouse in somewhere like England or France or something, so they can distribute to the whole of Europe. So I was worried about that when I got the Australian buyer. But with Australia being a country where I assume a lot of people do buy stuff from AliExpress, and also not being too far away from China, it wasn't all bad. 15 days was the expected delivery time, which is fine because my policy was set to international deliveries being up to 30 days anyway. So it will come on time, and I'm going to update the tracking details for this order in due course. But that was my first order on Etsy. Do I think I'll continue with the platform? Yes. I don't see a problem with it. As I've said, the initial upfront fees are slightly annoying. It'd be better if it was somewhere more like eBay, where you only pay fees when the items sell, but 20 pence a time isn't too bad. The only trouble that I can see with this is that when you start to upload items at the rate that I want to, say you have a store full of 50, 100, 200, 300, 400 items, the costs start to add up monthly. And if the sales don't correspond, you could run into an issue there. I guess the solution is to try and get those sales coming in. But that's something that I'm going to be working on. And yeah, I do think Etsy is a decent site to sell on. I think better are out there. And I think if you are looking to sell on Etsy, you have to be careful. Like I said, a lot of it's related to handmade stuff and stuff in that regards. However, what I will say is, in my time browsing the platform and in my time formally selling on the platform before I actually acquainted myself with all of the rules, I was selling, again, clothes. That's not handmade, and it's also not craft supplies or tools. So I got away with that on that different account, and also I've seen multiple accounts in the past which are selling all sorts of stuff, sunglasses, hats, stuff that doesn't really come into Etsy's domain. I'm not too sure why this is. Maybe it's because Etsy is more bothered about making profits than protecting their initial company goal, which, fair enough on them. It's obviously a very niche platform to sell a very, very concentrated and specific category of goods. However, I am going to try it for what it is. So hopefully Etsy goes well for me. I do think it's something that anybody can start. just like any other site where you can resell stuff, it's easy. It depends which way you want to go about it. And again, Etsy, unlike eBay, if you wanted to dropship there, again, read up on the terms and conditions and all that kind of stuff. But if you were to do that, it's a bit different because you don't have to pay upfront fees. Whereas Etsy, you might have to set 10, 15, 20 pounds, dollars, euros aside, just so you have the money to pay for those fees. But yeah, I can't complain basically. It's been a pleasant experience selling on Etsy so far, and I will be continuing to list goods, and hopefully I don't run into any issues. That's one of the things that I must say I'm a little bit apprehensive towards ever since my eBay issues, because you just don't know, right? I mean, you could try your best to do everything legitimate by the site, and some issue pops up, but I'm going to try to do everything that I can to keep selling on Etsy. So far things are looking good, and I hope that continues. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I do hope to see you in our next one. Thank you so much, and again, see you soon.